Well, hello there, everyone. It is Sunday, May the 22nd, year 2022. Here's a reminder. I know a lot of you are subscribed, but click the bell for notifications. Because I've had a few people tell me, oh my, I didn't know you were back making videos. Click the bell for notification and you will be notified when I make a new video. And of course, always click the thumbs up to like it and comment. And always share my videos. People can learn from me from sharing my stories. How else can a blue-collar worker all his life become a multimillionaire? Right, I share my stories. I'm not selling anything. Amazon does sell stuff, and I do put links in my description. None of you, except for one person, have ordered anything from Amazon since I've done it, right? Because if you did, maybe you want to give just a little bit back to me for sharing my stories and helping you get started with investing. So if you click on the links I have in my videos, and as long as you buy something on Amazon from that link, it doesn't have to be what I put there, I will get some sort of little commission. Just a little bit. You want me to keep my channel, right? I'm not monetized. That's one way you can give just a little bit back. All right, so anyway, it's been a busy morning. This morning, the missus and I were outside there. We planted 4 bougainvillea, if I didn't say that right. Beautiful plants. 2 of them are on trellises, 1 of them is a tree, and 1 is a bush. So we'll keep them all pruned as time goes on. So like the tree, it doesn't get that tall to begin with, but we'll keep it. We'll let it top out maybe around 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet or so, about the height of my fence, roughly. And we'll keep it pruned up nice and neatly. So my plan is, excuse me, I don't want to sneeze. Once my tiki hut's done down there, you see my dock, once my tiki hut's done, and once we complete the landscape in there, I'll probably do a video walking around the yard, showing you some of these plants, showing you the tiki hut, because plants are soothing. They help the soul. Even if you have a plant in your house, a house plant, anybody can have a plant. I've heard people say, oh, I have a black thumb. No, you don't. You got the internet. Google whatever kind of plant you just bought. If it says water it once a week, if it's damp, don't water it. The main way people kill plants is give too much water. It's better to generalize, too little water than to give too much water, especially when it's in a container. Okay? So anyway, enough of that. Morgan Housel. I have talked about him before. I've met him. He used to work for the Motley Fool. I used to work for the Motley Fool. I met him at Fool Fest. I think 2 different times he was there. I was there. He's been there probably every year. I was there twice. So anyway, he works now. I think it's his site, collaborativefund.com. I'll put a link in the description below. I guess I need to sit taller to be in the middle of the camera screen. But he has an article dated May the 9th, 2022 called A Few Beliefs. A few beliefs. What are your beliefs? All right, I'm going to run down just a couple. I'm not going to read them all. I'm just going to run down a couple and elaborate on them perhaps. The worst financial decisions happen when people risk what they need in order to gain something they merely want. Think about that. Think about that. People risk what they need in order to gain something they merely want. People can do that when they get a HELOC. They might risk their house to buy a boat, something they just want. And they could lose their home because of that. All right? Unsustainable things can last years or decades longer than people think. Here's a good one. Think about your favorite politician. All right? Think about your favorite preacher. Think about your favorite motivational speaker. All right? All of you listen to somebody probably. And I'll go back to politics. A lot of Americans follow politics. All right? Apply this to any politician at all. Tell people what they want to hear, and you can be wrong indefinitely without penalty. Tell people what they want to hear, and you can be wrong indefinitely without penalty. I think 110% of every single politician reads that, studies that, learns that, and practices it. Because society is bamboozled. If you put up a sign in your yard for your favorite politician, if you go on Facebook about your favorite politician, you are bamboozled. All right. However, being loyal to people who deserve your loyalty is a wonderful thing. The luckier you are, the nicer you should be. Here's a good one. Read fewer forecasts and more history. Read fewer forecasts and more history. I made a video yesterday, I think it was, talking a little bit about stocks. Millennial Mike thinks I'm wrong. All right, study history. We have been on a bull run for 13 years in regards to the stock market. 13 years. That is unnatural. It is not normal. We don't normally have bull runs that last 13 years. The market is due for a correction. We have high inflation. We have low unemployment. We have everyone and their mother and their brother saying a recession is coming. The stock market is very fickle normally. Think about everything I just said, and think about if you watch Michael Zuber, One Rental at a Time, he says over and over and over, we are repeating the 1970s. If we are repeating the 1970s, there is a 15-year period from something like 1966 to 1980, thereabouts, plus or minus, where the S&P 500 was basically flatlined the entire time. Sure, it fluctuated, but it was basically flatlined the entire time. So with that being said, knowing what I know, if you're 20, write it out if you so desire. But even if you're 20, why not take that money and buy a rental property? If you're a millennial Mike and you're in your 30s, why not take that money and buy a rental property? If you're my friend Will, or his mother, or my two sons, or anyone in my mastermind group, why not take that money and buy a rental property? Why do you want to take the chance that it will stagnate for the next 10 to 15 years? You think history won't repeat itself? Look at Japan in the 1990s. In the 1980s, thoughts were that the Japanese were going to take over the world. Their economy was riding high. They flatlined it for the next 20 years or so. All right? History repeats itself. Buyer beware. All right? All right. But remember, I don't know what I'm talking about. Here's a good one. This is what 98% of society does. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. All right, let me see what else. Oh, here's another good one. About once a decade, people forget that bubbles form and burst about once a decade. About once a decade, people forget that bubbles form and burst about once a decade. It happens to everybody. All right, let's see. I'm just skimming through these. You should read this article. I'll put a link below because it covers a lot more than what I'm saying right here. All right, here's a good one. Most people can afford to not be a great investor, but they can't afford to be a bad one. Here's another good one. Beliefs that haven't changed in 20 years are as suspect as beliefs that changed overnight. Beliefs that haven't changed in 20 years are as suspect as beliefs that have changed overnight. Investing evolves over time. All right. I'll go back to stocks. Investing evolves over time. I found the Motley Fool in 1999. I started buying individual stocks in 1999. I averaged about an 18% return from the year 2005 to 2018. And 2019, 2020, I averaged roughly 100%. All right. I am now out of stocks. I am pretty much 100% in real estate and natural resources, mineral rights acreage, and drilling for oil. Oil, natural gas, water. Basically those three. All right. Progress happens too slowly to notice. Setbacks happen too fast to ignore. Here's another good one. Optimism and pessimism always overshoot because the only way to know the boundaries of either is to go a little bit past them. The world is governed by probability, but people think in black and white, right or wrong, did it happen or did it not? Because it's easier. Here's one. I might wrap it up with this, maybe. The cure to overconfidence. The cure to overconfidence is constantly reminding yourself that you've experienced maybe 0.0000 1% of the world. It's 4 zeros. A point 40 is 1% of the world. You've experienced that much of the world. It doesn't matter who you are. It does not matter who you are, okay? We have a society full of experts. Some people may look at me, Mazske, you know what you're talking about. Somebody look at Zuber, they look at Millennial Mike, they look at Dion Talks, look at Coach Carson, they look at Grant Cardone, they look at me, Kevin, they look at Graham Stephan. They look at their favorite YouTuber and they think, oh, they know what they're talking about. Baloney. Some people know more than others about certain topics and subjects. No one is an expert on anything and everything. No one is an expert completely on the economy. The economy is made up of a lot of different intertwined pieces. It's a global economy. No one knows exactly how it's going to play out. We are all little pieces of the puzzle in the 7 billion people in the world. We're just a little particle, okay? So, but anyway, with that being said, all of us, we can make our own bed. We can lie in it. We can become an investor. We can sit on the sidelines and whine about the other rich people and whine about the government not giving us money, all right? Maybe I'm being blunt here, but you got to start investing. You got to start investing. Real estate is the best way to go. If nothing else, go with stocks. If you're lazy, go with index funds. If you have children and you're saving your money for your children's college education and you put it in index funds, what happens if the S&P 500 stagnates, flatlines for the next 12 to 15 years? What happens? Sure, if you're putting money in, the pot of money might grow a little bit, but it's not going to grow to what you think it'll be. But what if you could buy, with that money, buy a rental house and take the cash that you get in and keep saving it, maybe buy another rental house, and then use that, and maybe in 15 years you sell it, and with normal appreciation and mortgage pay down, you now pay for your kids' college. Or you do what I do. I told my kids when they were growing up that mom and dad are poor and we can't afford to pay for college. So you got to do everything you can do to get a free ride to college. Do the best you can do academically, physically, mentally, spiritually, athletically, theatrically, everything you do, do the best you can do. And it worked. My boys both got a free ride to college. If Mazske can do that with his children, so can you. If Mazske can be a blue-collar worker and become a multimillionaire, so can you. If Mazske can say, let's invest in stocks, but then Mazske, after 30 years of investing in stocks, says, it might not be the right time to invest in stocks. Does Mazske know what he's talking about? Probably not. All right, with that being said, I'm going to sign out, but there should be a second video come along later today. It'll be a burr walkthrough of one of my houses. So every time I say there's another video coming, it doesn't come, but hopefully you'll see a burr walkthrough of one of my houses later today. All right, good enough. Have a great day. Mazske is signing out.